Hi everyone, welcome to Land and Sea. I'm Jane Adey. Today we take you to a Christmas in Conception Bay North. Former host Paul Harrington visited the community of Job's Cove 40 years ago, back in 1984.
This is a stark and striking shore. Broad green meadows that sweep to the edge of black slate cliffs and then tumble down to the sea. The jagged meeting of sea and land, running north from Carbonear to Baccalieu. The north shore of Conception Bay was one of the earliest centers for the summer fishery from the old country. Back in the 1600s, fishing fleets came here in the spring and fished these shores all summer. In the darkening days of October, they'd race home ahead of the encroaching winter. When permanent settlement was finally allowed, the North Shore was one of the first areas where communities sprang up. Today, the descendants of those first livyers still carry on the inshore fishery from dozens of rocky coves and inlets. Being a fisherman on this shore has never been an easy proposition. The families who settled here, most of them Irish, turned away from the crowded harbors at the head of the bay. Instead, they chose places where they literally had to climb down the cliffs to reach the water. Places like the Job's Cove Droke, a cavernous gorge that snakes down to the sea. Yet, if you think that Droke is a hard spot, you should know that most of the fishermen who work from here moved out of far more precarious places. Like Redlands, where they had to build ladders down the sheer face of the cliff and clamber like goats to the narrow beaches. Remnants of those ladders still dangled from the rocks, proof of the determination and resourcefulness of the fishermen of the North Shore. It's fall now, and there's a mad scramble on the water. Trawls, handlines, and jiggers are threaded down into the bay as fishing crews try to outguess the weather and scrape up a few more quintals of fish. Some need it for their last few stamps. Others are out in the bay just picking up a few fish to dry for the winter. Like Tom Mullally of Northern Bay. Tom's had a good year, and a few fall fish will top off the season nicely. Although today, the fish are scarce.
That one's jigged by the head. Come and eat it. One for the pot.
Tom, you got some interesting names for your grounds around here.
Yes, very familiar names. We got here where we're at now is what we call the Northeast Shoal. Just up further there, where Ed Doyle's at there now is Southwest Shoal. Up where our Peach is at is Southeast Shoal. And down where Mike Hogan's boys is at this morning, we've got what they call Pellyfin's Ledge. That got its name, there's an old gentleman by the name of Pellyfin was fishing on Northeast Shoal where we're at here now, and that was years ago in the Rodney days, in the sail days. And when he eat his lunch, he lie down to have a rest, continue on fishing in the afternoon. He anchored his boat, he anchored his boat, and while he was asleep, the wind rose and he drifted. And when he woke up, he put his hand line overboard and the fish was enormous. When he looked around, he said, "This is not where I was at this morning, whatever happened?" And this is how it came by the name, Pellyfin.
I guess you get these barber's pole and rabbit's ears from what, rocks on the bottom or
Rocks on the bottoms, rabbit's ears gets his name by, you can see it on the sounder now. Two peaks up about 5 fathom each, just like two rabbit's ears. That's how, and they were quite intelligent old people, them people years ago. They never had the electronic equipment like we got today.
the sounders and everything?
Sounders, yeah. And now you can go over it and they're playing fine by the sea, the two peaks of land, just like rabbit's ears. That's how that got its name.
I notice out around here today there's quite a lot of young men out fishing.
Quite a few young men. I got a young lad with me, my nephew. He celebrated his 16th birthday out here on the fishing ground. He went to school, he got pretty good education in school, and we got quite a few young lads.
But you hear so much about young people leaving the fishery, but this is not the case here.
No, you take in my day, when my dad fished here, I often talked to him home when things were bad, fish was very small price, and he figured when that generation went, the fishery was finished. The inshore fishery was finished. Well, he never thought that I would continue it, and he never thought that my children would continue it. It was a wonderful thing to see the young people taking an interest in the fishery.
The fishing days dwindle away to a handful as fall drifts quietly toward winter. There's work to be done ashore, preparations to be made for the cold months ahead. It's time to lay out the winter fish to dry in the cool, bright air. Time to spend in the garden, digging up those last few rows of potatoes, storing them away in the cellar. The crisp autumn days bring a sense of quiet urgency, that the snow is not far off, and a sense of anticipation, that with the snow will come Christmas, and Christmas on this shore is always a very special time. Christmas week in Job's Cove. A fresh snowfall has softened the landscape, and the distant sounds of summer are muffled and remote. The droke no longer echoes with the voices of fishermen. They are replaced by the sounds of winter, of hauling wood with a family in tow.
Hello, Mary. How's up?
December on the North Shore is much the same as in other fishing villages. A pause between last season's fishery and the preparation for next year's. But December means something more here, for this is a shore rich in tradition, a tradition of songs and stories carried on and added to by each passing generation. And nowhere is it stronger than here in Job's Cove, especially at Christmas time. This Job's Cove house was always filled with poetry and music this time of year. It belonged to Johnny Johnson, one of the North Shore's most illustrious singers and storytellers. At Christmas, it was the scene of some of the liveliest times on the shore. Johnny Johnson died in 1983, and the house is now boarded up. But the tradition is carried on by his son Ray, a singer and musician, and by Francis Colbert, 80 years old and sharp as a tack, a storehouse of poems and recitations. Ray, this must have been a pretty lively spot around this time of year, Christmas time.
Yes, even though it's boarded up, you'd never believe there'd be so much entertainment going on these past 30, 40 years. But still, Christmas time, St. Patrick's Day, The whole place was black with people, great entertainment, great dancing, great singing. And I think Mr. Colwell will even vouch for that.
Yes, I can well remember the great times we used to have at Christmas and all through the New Year. We used to call it 12 whole days of Christmas, and it was really wonderful to be here at Raymond's home. But the sad thing about it is the passing of his father recently. That has put a dampener on everything.
He was quite a storyteller himself, I understand.
Oh, he was, yes, really, and a singer. Yeah, he was really that.
Has singing and recitations and playing instruments, has that always been a tradition around this area, around Joe's Cove?
Oh yes, excuse me, even in my time, at the age of 14 years of age, when I played for my second, third square dance, you could see musicians from all over the place coming into the old school and taking part in the fiddle music or the accordion music.
Francis, do you think do you think you may be one of the last of your kind? Do you think it's a tradition that's dying out gradually?
I suppose it is in a way, all right, because I'm 80-year-old and I don't think there's too many coming up now to take my place. I hope they would, but...
But Francis, I imagine you still got a few recitations in you?
Oh yes, I have quite a few recitations, all right. In fact, they call me the man of 1,000 recitations. That's what Clyde Rose called me a few years ago. And anyway, I have enough. Go ahead till this turn tomorrow.
I don't think we can squeeze in 1,000 recitations, but I think I'd look forward to hearing maybe 2 or 3 from you tonight. How's that?
Oh, you'll hear more than that, I suppose.
The close of the short winter days does not mean the onset of cold, dark nights. Not here in Job's Cove. Because, as the daylight fails, its place is taken by the glow of a traditional outport Christmas.
Ray, do another number for us now. Do the Hills of Glen She.
One fine summer's morning as I went out walking, just as the breakers rolled over the sea, I happened to spy a fair-haired young damsel out tending her flocks by the hills of Glen She. I said, pretty fair one, will you be my dear one? For I'll take you over, my bride for to be. And this very night in my arms I will hold you, while you tend your flocks on the hills of Glen She. Oh no, my dear sir, do not take me over. None of your footmen will wait upon me. I would rather stay at home in my own home from clothing, and attend to my flocks on the hills of Glen She. For 20 long years we both lived together. Seasons may change, but there's no change in me. And if God lets me live and I have my right senses, I'll never prove false to the girl on Glen. She's Mary, my own love darling. I love her so, and I know she loves me. And I'll never prove false to my girl where I met her. No, I'll never prove false to the girl on Glen. No, I'll never prove false to the girl on Glen. Thank you, thank you. Well, Francis, I think it's time for you to do a good recitation. What about Job's Cove Rock?
Yes, I'll try that. There's a fishing spot called Job's Cove Rock, and it lies in Conception Bay. Men fished its shoals, God rest their souls. They are long since passed away, yet memory lingers ever on, as stars they once shone bright. Men who fished on Job's Cove Rock were the big ones, always bite. There was Uncle Bob, who feared no fog, a running north-west squall. Uncle Tim, who would always grin at the big ones on his trawl. And John and Bill from the Waterhill, who worked late into night, and Skipper Sam, who could row to land with the waters that are wide. So come along, and I'll spin a yarn of three fishermen brave and bold. Our names were Frank and Bob and Ned, and we fished on that lower shore. At the dawn of day we'd get under way, to Job's Cove Rock we'd go. We'd hunt around on that fishing ground till the evening sun sank low. Then, with one last haul, we'd bait our trawl and soon be under way, and head for shore on our homes once more, to wait for another day. But I'm off track, so let's get back to where I had begun, and I'll spin the yarn of that foggy morn. 'Twas the year of '61. We left the boat, 'twas black as night with fog, but we did not mind. Ned took his course as he oft-times did, and I followed close behind. Calm was the sea, calm as could be, as we shot towards our goal, Job's Cove Rock, that fishing spot, and our trawls on the lower shore. As our time ran out, we looked about to find the fishing ground, but not a boy did meet our eye as we circled all around. Naught but the sound of an old seagull that had circled overhead, and seemed to say as they flew away, "That's Frank and Bob and Ned." As we circled round, we heard a sound we could not understand, like the thunderous roar of waves on shore, and it seemed we were near the land, and all of a sudden there came a sight I'll never in life forget, as a score of whales with slashing tails, they're still in my memory yet. Then Ned turns to me, and Frank, says he, "We're doomed this time, I guess. I think we're down below the ground, so we'll head her up southwest. But there's one request I'd like to make," and his voice was low and weak. "That's if you're about when I pass out, just dump me in the deep." Well, he seemed so low, I couldn't say no. So I said, "I will agree, but if you survive and I'm not alive, just do the same for me." Full speed ahead, I followed Ned. This time 'twas do or die, as through a gap in that wolf-like pack of whales we hurried by. Then we heard a shout, and we looked about, and our hearts were filled with glee, as Arthur loomed through a bank of fog, like a demon of the sea. So he gave a shout that rang miles about, and he frightened the whales away. Then we knew we were saved from a watery grave in the depths of Conception Bay. So The sculpins may roll round the lower shore, foxy tomcods they may swim, but I'll not be caught near Job's Cove rock. When the fog starts rolling in, I'll stay in the drove. I'll sleep and smoke until the weather clears, but that trip you bet I'll not forget if I live for 100 years.
Well done, friend. Well done.
That was former host Paul Harrington with a show called Christmas at Job's Cove. In January, we'll be airing some more favorites from more recent times. And in February, we'll be back on the air with brand new programs. Happy New Year, and thanks for watching.